Om Sahana Vavato Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 3 verses 31 to 35.
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् चेतसः सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Last class we studied the shloka number 30, which talks about the technique of right action. It gives the ideal action ka blueprint. It gives the blueprint of right action, ideal action. And we said ideal action should generate energy, and it will prevent the energy from getting dissipated in the lower channels. That is what is called as ideal action. So what generates energy is an action that is driven by a goal, not by the desire. When an action is driven by the desire, it dissipates energy. When an action is channelized towards a goal, it generates energy. Action that is channelized towards the goal is propelled by buddhi. Action that is propelled by desire is propelled by mind. So, therefore he says, Adhyatma Chetasa. The intellect, buddhi, should fix an ideal, a goal. And in Vedantic parlance, when we say goal, something beyond your selfish, self-centered interest. It could be working for the family. If you are established at that level, then you can stretch it further to the level of community. If you establish there, you can stretch it further to the level of country. Further, you can stretch it towards, the entire humanity and all species, etc. So never stagnate at any particular goal. Keep on stretching. So intellect fixes an ideal. The highest ideal is self-realization. Realizing my true nature, because all the suffering in the world is due to my attachment to the world. Nothing wrong with the world. There are so many issues in the world, and it will keep on, coming in different forms. Nothing will end. Even if you become self-realized, enlightened, world will keep throwing challenges, problems. So the world is not causing the suffering. It is our attachment. And why we are attached? Because we are ignorant of our true nature. And this ignorance is causing us to believe that we are this individual, which causes the attachment, and due to attachment, we suffer. Therefore, if we have to free ourselves from all these sufferings, we need to gain the knowledge of the self, become enlightened. That is our goal. But today, we may not be qualified for that goal. So we say, okay, my goal is self-development. So intellect pitches up that goal. Then mind surrenders to that goal. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. So meaning what? It is not surrendering the actions. It is surrendering the personal likes and dislikes driving the action. You channelize all the action towards that goal. That is called Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. Mind surrendering to that goal. And then Yutyasva means fight, meaning face the challenges of life. Let your body engage in action dynamically. Once the intellect pitches up the goal and mind follows in that direction and body acts towards that goal, then you develop more, you generate more and more energy because your nature is channelized. And it should not get dissipated in the lower channels. And what are the lower channels into which it gets dissipated? It gets dissipated in the future, past, and present. It mind by itself going to the future and being anxious of the future, being attached to the result, dissipates energy. So he says, Nirashi. Intellect should control the mind from by itself going towards the future. Then nirmamaha. Mamaha means ego. Mamatvam is ego. And ego comes from the past, the memories of the past. All these memories of the past put together is your ego. Like we explained last week. You know who I am. You know who my father is. My grandfather is. You know what is my background. All this is nothing but ego, memories of the past. So mind going towards the past by itself has to be controlled by the intellect. And then when you're doing the action in the present, we get the jwaraha, it says, without excitement in the present, controlling that excitement. So when the intellect keeps your mind in the present action, without allowing it to get excited in the present, nor allowing it to dissipate energy through the anxiety for the future, nor through the worries of the past, then you conserve that energy without getting it dissipated. You develop concentration. So this is concentration. And then consistency is when all your actions are directed towards the goal. And when you understand that, nirmamaha also means what? Just my action is not going to fetch the result. So many factors are there. So when I understand that, there will be cooperation also. So this concentration, consistency, and cooperation, these are the 3 C's of success. When that is taken care of, you will be successful. This is what we studied last week as the blueprint of ideal action, technique of right action. Now, the same concepts, let's look at it slightly differently. It's not completely different, it's the same thing, but from a different angle. Firstly, when he says, Adhyatma Chetas. Adhyatma Chetas means thought should be on the knowledge of the self, knowledge of the higher. Viveka Buddhi. Viveka Buddhi means all that we studied, like we discussed the entire 2nd chapter of the Gita, is a summary of all the Vedic knowledge, Vedantic knowledge. So, entire Bhagavad Gita is summarized in 2nd chapter. By God's grace, we have already gone through that. So, we have to understand what he is discussing here is nothing but Karma Yoga. The chapter itself is called Karma Yoga, and it is spelled out in this particular shloka. So, first he says, your action should be driven by Viveka Shakti, Viveka Buddhi. What is that? What is my goal? What is worthy of achieving? This I should know. You understand? What is worthy of achieving? This I should know. Many of us don't know what the goal is. and we are deluded with reference to that itself. So, firstly, what is the goal? Artha, Kama, Dharma, are they the goal or moksha the goal? That clarity, that viveka should be there. Dharma, adharma, vishaya, you should have clarity. What is dharma? What is adharma? What is obligation? What is not obligation? And this viveka, this is what he says by viveka shakti, viveka buddhi, I should have. And I have only right to action. The result depends on so many factors, which we studied in the second chapter, verse 47. Karmani eva adhikaraha ma phaleshu kadachana. So, therefore, that buddhi, that while my action is important, there are so many other factors that contribute to success. And my individual effort is important, prayatnam, but Ishvara gives results according to all my karma, right? What I get as a result depends on my karma that we have gained from the past, the papam and punya that we have collected from the past. So, prayatnam has to be there, but the result is given by Ishvara. So, this knowledge, so that I won't get attached to the fruit, this knowledge also should be there. So, all this, I should have in my head before plunging into action. This is called Viveka Buddhi. And then, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. What is that? Arpana Buddhi. Arpana Buddhi means dedicating all actions towards that goal, towards that Ishvara. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Not doing it for my sake, doing it for thy sake. Understanding with that Viveka that all of us are a spoke in the wheel of life. And every spoke has a role to play. No spoke is superior or inferior. No one is superior, no one is inferior. You understand? So, every spoke matters. Everyone is important. So, with this knowledge, we will not have low self-esteem, nor will we have superiority complex or inferiority complex, nothing. So, clearly, we understand that all of us have a role to play. And this is the role I have to play. So, I dedicate that for the total. You understand? That is called Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. So, it is Karma Tyaga Buddhi. Karma Tyaga Buddhi, karma I don't do it for my sake. Keeping just profit in mind. Of course, profit and loss is a result of an action. But while doing the action, I am not doing it just for my sake. It is to be done, and I don't do it just mechanically. I do it with love, with bhakti, with devotion. I understand that for this Dharma Chakra the wheel to continue, everybody has to play their role. One by one, if we stop playing the role, what will happen to this world? It will stop. 7 continuous days, they say. If the sun doesn't rise, the world will come to a standstill. Everybody has a role to play, isn't it? Like John Milton says, they also serve who stand and wait. So, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, that Buddhi, Arpana Buddhi, Karma Tyaga Buddhi, Raga Dvesha Tyaga Buddhi. And then he says, Nirashi, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa Nirashi. Second line. What is this nirashi? Without expectation. Means what? Prasada buddhi. We've already mentioned this many times. Karma yoga will have these two very important buddhis called arpana buddhi, prasada buddhi. So if in your viveka you already understand Ishvara's prasad is the result, how much ever we want. That is what beautifully Swamiji summarizes and says, it is not, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. You get what you deserve, not what you desire. You can keep desiring as many things as you want. You will get according to your karma, what you deserve. Right? So Ishvara is the one who gives the palam. Karma palam is given by Ishvara. So why bother about it? While doing the action, I am doing it as arpanam to the Lord. And whatever comes, I take it as prasadam. It's called prasada buddhi. So, viveka buddhi, Ishvara arpana buddhi, prasada buddhi. And then nirmamaha. Nirmama, mamatvam, mamakaram, mine, possessiveness. I am doing this action, my action. You know, the entire universe is run by Ishvara. Nowhere is the stamp of Ishvara seen. You don't see the stamp of Ishvara anywhere. Right? We keep questioning, is there God? Where is God? If you are pure, you can see God anywhere. Isn't it? Like Jesus Christ says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. If you are pure, if you have done enough karma yoga, you would have chitta shuddhi. And in fact, when we said, no, you should not have the result in mind while doing the action, have prasada buddhi. Adi Shankaraji says, even this chitta shuddhi result should not be there in your mind. I mentioned this to you in one of the scripture in Tamil. He beautifully says, Avanarulale avantal panindu. Avanarulale avantal panindu. Means, by His grace, you surrender to Him. Even to surrender to Bhagavan, even to surrender to the higher, even to have this desire to study Gita every Sunday, you should have the blessings of God. Without the Ishvara Anugraha, nothing happens. You understand? We think we are doing everything. Nothing in this prapancha will go on if there is no role played by Ishvara from that angle. From a different angle, we'll say consciousness is not the karta, it is only a karta. So therefore, you should not even have chitta shuddhi goal while doing the action. Chitta shuddhi also, if he thinks I'm qualified, let him give. Otherwise, what is my job? Continue doing action to qualify. That's it. So where there will be tiredness, there won't be any tiredness. Tiredness will be there when there is expectation. You understand? So therefore he says, Nirmamaha. It is Bhagavan's action done through me. Each one has their nature and Atma is enlivening, Prakriti is functioning. I understand all this and allow the Prakriti to function for the total. You understand? Then there is no mamatvam. So here, mamatvam is sacrificed. Mamatyaga. So this buddhi, there it is karmatyaga and what do you call this? Ragadvesha tyaga. Here we are talking about mamatvam tyaga, kartrutvam tyaga. So we are sacrificing kartrutvam, kartrutva tyaga buddhi, nirmamaha. And with all this buddhi, you have to do your action, yudhyasva. If you do this, vigata jwaraha, you will not have any stress. Jwara means fever. Fever is not physical fever, mental fever. This mental fever will not be there. This stress and strain will not be there. Shant will be there. Samatvam buddhi. Samatva buddhi will be there. He already said in the previous chapter, 48th shloka and 50th shloka. Remember that. Samatvam yogam uchyate. He said, Samatvam yogam uchyate. So, in that shloka, he said, Samatva. And then, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Dexterity in action is yoga. These two he mentioned. So, 48 and 50th shloka of chapter 2. So, the Samatva buddhi, if you have, you will do your actions dexterously. The action will free flow. No tension, no stress, no strain, nothing. So, stress and strain has got nothing to do with what you do. Stress and strain is how you do it. You understand? So if you have viveka, that it is the intention that brings pap and punya. We have good intention, punya. If you have bad intention, papa. Action per se, there is no papa or punya. There is no virtue or vice. Now when I understand this, then where is the problem? So then there won't be any tension. I will relax and do. Otherwise, I have intention. I want result, expectations. I have kartrutva bhav, doership. All this, when I do an action, if it is there will be tension, there will be stress, there will be strain. So we think stress and strain is due to action. Stress and strain is not due to action. It is not what you do that matters. It is how you do it. It is how we do it. Later on in the 9th chapter, he'll say, Yad karoshi yadashnasi yadjuhoshi dadasi yad tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you give, whatever you eat, do it as an offering to me. If you have this viveka, when you do the action, there will be bhakti. Where there is bhakti, there can be no bhaya, no tension. Where there is no bhakti, there will be bhaya. You understand? So, really speaking, see, for example, in the story of Prahalada, when Lord Narasimha manifested, the Ugra Rupam, who manifested and finished off Hiranyakashipu, tore him apart. Everybody was scared. Nobody dared to get closer to him. And Prahalada, you will see a lot of pictures of Lord Narasimha being seated. On his lap, Prahalada is seated. What is that? Bhakti. When there is bhakti, there can be no bhaya, no tension, nothing. How will there be bhaya? That's why Mahakavi Bharati sang, Kala en munne vada, unne kala udepen, Meaning what? He's telling Lord Yama, you come in front, I don't care. We are so worried every time, what is going to happen, what is going to happen, what is going to happen. Nobody cares if you know that the whole universe is governed by various laws and you abide by those laws. Only when you don't do all these things, then there is fear, then there is insecurity, then there is all this, then there is stress and strain. But then you will keep on finding some excuse or the other for your stress. The easiest excuse is politicians, administrators. Very easy. So, this is what he is saying. Vigata jwaraha samatva buddhi. So, viveka buddhi, ishwararpana buddhi, or karma thyaga buddhi, ragadvesha buddhi, ragadvesha thyaga buddhi, sorry. And then prasada buddhi, and then kartrutva thyaga buddhi, And then samatva buddhi. With all this buddhi, you have to do the action. Already in the second chapter, when Sri Krishna was going to introduce Karma Yoga, before that, he in the shloka number 41, he said, Vyavasai Atmika Buddhi, Vyavasatmika Buddhi, Ekeha Kuru Nandana. In the shloka number 41 of previous chapter 2, he says, in Karma Yoga, the intellect is resolute and one-pointed, O Arjuna. Otherwise, it goes in all directions. If you don't have a goal, if it is not directed by the buddhi, if you don't live as per this knowledge, what will happen? Your desire will take over. And once your desires take over, it is many branched, he says. Bahushaka. Bahushaka means many branched. Desire, when you keep on following desire, chasing desire, it is many branched. You will dissipate your energy in many directions. Therefore, he says, you have to understand this karma yoga. He calls as buddhi yoga. This is what is the word he used. Now we understand why he said buddhi yoga then. Without buddhi, when you do an action propelled by your mind, it is not karma yoga, it is karma. Karma will give you papa and punya. Karma yoga will remove papa and punya. It will give you material success, mental peace, prosperity and peace. And it will also, as it reduces your vasanas, you will also evolve spiritually. So there will be samatva buddhi, samatvam. You understand? And with that, you yudhyasva, face your challenges of life. That's all. If you do this, it is called karma yoga. If you do karma yoga, then you will benefit. How will you benefit? He explains in the next shloka 31. If you don't follow, what happens? He says that in 32nd shloka. Verse number 31.
Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyantaha muchyante tepi karmabhihi.
Those men who constantly practice this teaching of mine, Eme matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Manavaha means men, people. Matam here means teaching, and which means is referring to karma yoga. Idam matam, this teaching of mine. This teaching, what is the teaching? Karma yoga. Eme matam idam nityam anutishtanti. Nityam means what? Daily, constantly, not only week after week, only Sundays. Understand? Every Sunday. That also rare. We don't really every Sunday study. Today only Meeraji has only Meeraji, no? Nobody else. Only Meeraji has switched on her video. Everybody else has switched off the videos. It's okay, I understand. Sometimes you need the bandwidth and all that. But, see, the point is, every day, nityam anutishtanti, practicing. Whatever you studied, you got to practice it daily. Nityam anutishtanti, manavaha. Eme matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. So, to those people who are constantly practicing this teaching of mine, how? With what attitude? Shraddhavantaha, with full faith. Anasuyantaha, without any carping or complaining, constantly cavilling, without complaining, without finding fault. Shraddhavantaha anasuyantaha. He puts two conditions. They too, tepi muchyante karmabihi. They too are liberated from actions. Actions, karma bihi means karma bandhana. They become free from this, bondage that is created by this karma bandha. What is that karma bandha? Remember what we discussed. Chronology of action. Vasana, thought, desire, action, and actions further producing vasanas. Vasana, thought, desire, action, vasanas. Vasana, thought, desire, action, vasanas. You keep on producing vasanas and you keep on taking birth after birth to exhaust those vasanas. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani chatare shayan. Iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare pahi murare. Beautiful shloka from Bhajagovind. So, yesterday was Janmashtami. Right? Janmashtami, Sri Krishna Jayanti, whatever you want to call. Sri Krishna himself says, why do I manifest? He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Where does he say? Chapter 4. Chapter 4, he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glane bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In every yuga, I keep on taking manifestation. For what purpose? He says, to protect sattvic people. You understand? Paritranaya sadhuna. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. To destroy the rajasic and tamasic people. Dharma samsthapanartaya. To establish dharma. Sambhavami yuge yuge. So, Sri Krishna manifested, took avatara, and gave us Bhagavad Gita, which is the gist of Upanishads, Vedanta. For what purpose? To make us evolve to sattva, and when we bring ourselves to 100% sattva, we go beyond sattva, we become sattva atita, guna atita. Sattva atita, guna atita, self-realized, enlightened. That's the purpose of Krishna Janmashtami, Ramanavami. We keep on celebrating all these things. But what effort are we doing with reference to this? Nityam Anuttishtanti kidhar hai? No Anuttishtanti at all. You understand? He says, Yeme matam idam nityam anuttishtanti manavaha. Those who practice this daily, constantly, those who maintain this awareness 24/7. Swamiji says, prayer is not a part-time pastime hobby. It's a full-time awareness of truth. That full-time awareness of truth is prayer. You understand? So, therefore, he says, Nityam Anuttishtanti. It's very important, that particular two words. Nityam Anuttishtanti Manavaha Ye Me Matam. This karma yoga, those who adhere on a daily basis. How? Shraddhavantaha, anasuyantaha. Two conditions he puts. See, this bhav has to be there when you pursue. If this bhav is not there, nothing will happen. It is very important to have that feeling. You understand? A lot of people, they say, Arey, if I just keep on writing my desires, will it happen? It will not happen unless you have the bhav and shraddha. So what he says is, shraddha, first of all, shraddha is translated by in English as faith, but it is much more deep. What it means is faith plus conviction plus consistency. You have faith in the words of your Guru, Shastra, and you have developed conviction to follow those words, practice those words, and practice it consistently till it brings about transformation, enlightenment. This is called Shraddha. Okay. So, just superficial faith is not Shraddha. It is not Shraddha. So, if you have this faith, this Shraddha, this depth, he says in the same Gita, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Who gets the jnanam? Only who has Shraddha gets the jnanam. Others don't. What do others do? Cavil. Keep on complaining, finding fault in Gita, in Mahabharata, in Rama. We will find fault in Lord Rama killing Hanumanji. Sorry, Hanumanji, I'm saying Vali. Sorry. Vali he kills hiding behind the tree. Right? And we will find fault in that. What is this? Rama himself is, killing Vali hiding behind the tree. First of all, we won't read Ramayana, Mahabharata. We won't. We will hear some people talking, interpreting, including Bhagavad Gita. See, you would all like to listen to lectures maybe. How many of you sit and study what is being discussed in the class? Very few people. Very few. And of those people who sit and study, how many of you really reflect, think about it, asking questions? And of those people who have reflected, how many of you wish to follow a certain lifestyle to soak yourself in it? Nididhyasana. Very rare, very rare. So therefore, we keep finding fault. In fact, people read these stories, Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these Bhagavad Gita and all to find fault. For example, Karmani eva adhikaraha ma phaleshvara. What is this rubbish? And we discussed just now. You should not have right. You have no rights on results, only on duty. What is he talking? Not at all practical. And he said, if you follow this karma yoga this way, there won't be stress. It's all not practical in today's context. ये सब ठीक है. पुराना जमाने में ठीक था, अभी ठीक नहीं है. You understand? So something or the other we keep finding fault. In the teacher, in the words of the teacher, in the Shastra, in the world, in everything we keep finding fault. If you have that type of buddhi, corrupted buddhi, which keeps on finding fault, lacking Shraddha, it doesn't progress. It doesn't go anywhere. If we are still anchored in the world and we keep finding fault in the Shastras, then how will you progress? Therefore, he says, Shraddhavantaha anasuyantaha tepi muchyante karmabhihi. Muchyante tepi karmabhihi. They also get liberated from vasanas. Meaning what? See, jnanam, those who have evolved to that level, they have become jnanis. They do, in jnana yoga, it is, what do you call it? Sannyasa pradana marga. You understand? Sannyasa is, this way. Sannyasa is jnana pradana marga. Whereas one who is in the world, grasta, is karma pradana marga. We are in karma pradana marga. So when we are in karma pradana marga, this is the first step. This will take us towards the self. This is what we saw. Asmin loke divida anishta pura prokta mayanaga. Sri Krishna said that no. Lokesmin divida anishta pura prokta mayanaga. Jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. In the beginning of this chapter, when Arjuna asked, Hare Sri Krishna, you are praising knowledge in the second chapter, but you are forcing me to do this Ghora karma of killing Bhishma, Drona, my well-wishers, good people. Why should I do such karma? First of all, why should I do karma and that too this kind of karma? Jayasti chet karma naste mata buddhir janatana tatkim karmani gore mam niyojayasi keshava vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasi vame tadekam vada nishchitya Yena shreyoham apniyam. These two slokas, number 1 and 2, Arjuna asked. And Sri Krishna said, Lokesmin divida nishta pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. So for people who are evolved introverted, I have given jnana marga, right? Introverted people. But for extroverted people, I've given karma marga. And here he says, this also will give you liberation. How will it give liberation? Not only jnana marga. See, ignorance is the problem. Ignorance of the self is the problem. Ignorance of the self can be removed only through knowledge of the self. So therefore, direct liberation will come from where? Will come from jnanam. Therefore, what we will do? I will do only jnana marga. I will not do karma yoga. I will not do karma. Karma yoga and all is for low level people. No. He says, no, karma yoga will also help you. Why? How? First of all, karma yoga, when you do, it will give you jnana yogyata. You will become qualified for gaining that jnanam. We will get qualification for gaining that jnanam. When we try to do some activity, forget mundane activities, spiritual activity. We conduct weekly classes. We conduct yajna every year. Sunadaji comes and there is Gita lectures going on in Delhi. And these kind of lectures we do in different places. So when for those few days we say let's work for this particular cause for yajna, when we all come together to work for that cause of yajna, there itself our ego comes. All that we studied in the class, Viveka Buddhi, Arpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, Kartrutva Tyaga Buddhi, Samatva Buddhi, everything goes for a toss. We get involved. Ego. I'm doing, you are doing, okay, you do. I don't care, I won't be part of this. All these things come. Right? We keep finding fault in this or that. Because the focus is still on I, me. Don't let go. Therefore, even yajna, we develop this. So when we keep on doing action in the spirit of karma yoga, we develop what is called as jnana yogyata. And those who are qualified for jnana yogyata means those who are qualified for jnana, they can gain knowledge, understand, and then realize the self. So they will also be liberated. Meaning what? Through karma yoga, you purify. You attain chitta shuddhi. And through chitta shuddhi, you get jnana yogyata. And through jnana yogyata, you attain mukti, liberation. That's all it is. So if you follow karma yoga, what is the fruit? See, in the previous shloka, he said, Nirashi, do not have any expectations. Do not be result oriented. Don't think of the fruit. Jitna bhi you hear, we should not think of the goal. We should not be thinking of the result while doing the action. How much ever you say that, listen to that, understand it. Still the mind will say, इसमें मुझे क्या है? कितना %? What will I get out of it? If I spend 1 hour every Sunday from 11 to 12 listening to this class, what will I get? What will I get? What will I get? This what will I get will not go. You understand? So in the previous sloka, he said Nirashi. And then he says, if you really practice all that, you will get moksha, liberation. The highest you get. And when you get the highest, the lower stuff is added in the higher. See, please understand, in the higher, the lower is included. In the lower, higher is not included. Those who are happy, enjoy the world happily. Those who are lost in the enjoyments of the world do not find that happiness. So therefore, he says, Tepi muchyante karmabihi. They also become free from this bondage, vasana, thought, desire, action, and further vasanas. Because when you act this way, you're not thinking about the results. As a result, what happens? your vasanas gets dropped. You keep on evolving. You're also materially fulfilling your desires, and you're also dropping your vasanas, and you progress spiritually. Is what is the benefit of following karma yoga. Then, if you don't follow this, and most of us figuring that, right? So he says, if you don't follow this, what happens? Beautiful sloka number 32. We'll chant verse number 32.
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः.
But those who carp at this teaching of mine, those who keep on finding fault with karma yoga, with this teaching of Lord Krishna, Ishvara, and do not practice it, na anutishtanti. Those who do not practice, there is a nityam anutishtanti. Here is a na anutishtanti. Those who do not practice it, after finding fault with it, ये सब practical नहीं होता है. How is it possible in this time to study and reflect and practice all this? It's not possible. And such people, he says, sarva jnana vimudhamsta. They are deluded in all knowledge and senseless. Viddhinashtana chetasaha. Know them to be ruined. You understand? Achetasa means they don't have ability to think. They are senseless. Know them to be ruined. Completely ruined. See, this is what we keep saying. In English, they say, none can break the law. One can only break oneself against the law. Nobody can break the law. If you break the law stupidly, foolishly, what will you do? You will destroy yourself only. No? So none can break the law. One can only break oneself against the law. This is the law. This is how things work. So if you don't understand this, you go against it. Whose laws is it? Is it the laws for Sri Krishna? Is it the laws for the Upanishadic masters? It's not the laws to Sri Krishna or the Upanishadic masters. It is your own laws. Nashta sarva jnana vimudatma. Muda means full, deluded. Vimuda means PhD in delusion. PhD in foolishness. Senseless.
Just the class, Nakul. I'll call you back.
Please put yourself in mute. Yeah. So, sarva jnana vimudatma. See, these words are used by great masters like Sri Krishna, Adi Shankara, not as a criticism. Not as a criticism. Gita talks about asuya, but Gita is using the words like muda. You may say that. What they are trying to say is, you have the potential to understand as a human being and live this knowledge. Whenever this word fool is used, they are using it out of compassion. Like you say, when recently England versus India test series happened, the fourth test, Mohammad Siraj tried to save his wicket, because it was last wicket. They needed some 22 runs or whatever. He played very well as a last batsman, poor fellow. He focused and applied himself so much. But one particular ball, after hitting his bat, slowly went and hit the stumps. Before he could push it aside, it went and hit the stumps and the bails fell down. And India lost the match. And the next match, he won it for India, Mohammad Siraj. But when somebody like Mohammad Siraj, the last batsman, who comes and he hits and gets out, you say, what a fool. You won't say, what a fool. You understand, right? His capacity is that much powerful. He's a bowler, more of a bowler, not a batsman. But if the same thing at Tendulkar or Virat Kohli or all these players, when they hit a bad shot and get out, and especially when they're in 90, you say, what a fool. What a fool is. When you say, what a fool, not that you know to play cricket better than them. You know that he has tremendous potential. So many, centuries is hit. Having come so close, the fellow has thrown away his wicket. So, when they say Vimuda, deluded, what they are trying to tell is you have the potential to get liberated. But without doing something about that potential, you are now deluded. Lot of compassion, they say. So, therefore, Sri Krishna says, Vimuda. Such a person is a Vimuda. In what? Sarva Jnana Vimuda. What is the Jnanam? You remember all that we studied in the Viveka Buddhi, in Shloka number 30. I said Viveka Buddhi means all this Jnanam. Atma Anatma Jnanam, what is the goal? To get to that goal, what actions I have to do? What are my obligations? What are not my obligations? What is the role of Ishvara? Well, what is the role of my action? What should be my intention, my attitude? Intention per se doesn't give, the Papa and Punya. Sorry, action per se doesn't give Papa and Punya. It is the intention that gives Papa and Punya. And everybody is essential, important. Every role is important. No one is superior, inferior. So therefore, I have to do my role. A result comes according to each one's karma. All this jnanam. You understand? This sarva jnana vimudatma. This person is deluded in all this knowledge. Whatever we have studied till now. Therefore, what he does, he keeps on finding fault, carping the teachings of the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures, and doesn't put in effort to follow them. And they don't practice it. So therefore he says, but those who carp at this teaching of mine and do not practice it, deluded in all knowledge, senseless, know them to be ruined. Know them to be ruined because, you see, what will happen when our mind is not guided by the knowledge? When our mind is not guided by the knowledge, our actions will follow the mind which is having no buddhi. It will devastate us. Our life will be devastated. We will not be materially successful, mentally peaceful, enjoying, all that will be gone. It's a nashta from all angles. In all angles, it's a nashta. So that is what he's saying. They will be facing nashta, loss, material world level also. They will be facing loss, spiritual world also. From all angles, it's a nashta. Why? You remember we talked about Jnana Shakti, Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. So, when the Icha, the likes and dislikes are in our mind. This is going to talk about in the next shlokas. So, I'm just giving introduction to it. So, the Icha Shakti is inside us. The likes and dislikes, the desires. If we lack the buddhi, what will happen? Our actions will follow just Icha. Without knowledge, that will be detrimental. If the knowledge is there, the desire, guided by knowledge, will turn into love or bhakti, which guides the action. That action will make us evolve, develop spiritually, and material well-being also it will be taking care. So there is all benefits with the knowledge of the self, with the knowledge of the higher stuff that is discussed in the scriptures when we function. Otherwise, we ruin ourselves. Without gaining the knowledge, if we plunge into action, this is what will happen. That's why we need to gain the knowledge in our Brahmacharya ashrama, and then we'll have to get into Grastha ashrama, following it, it's the laboratory. And then the mind will evolve. We go to Vanaprastha ashrama, and then Sannyasa ashrama. Vanaprastha and Sannyasa ashrama are what? Jnana Pradana ashrama. Grastha ashrama is Karma Pradana ashrama. And Brahmacharya ashrama is what? Shastra Pradana ashrama. And then with this, when you evolve, you finally realize the self, you achieve moksha. So he's going to talk about this in 33rd shloka and 34th shloka. He will explain, 35th also. He'll explain, what will happen if this knowledge is not there. And what will happen if you have this knowledge, how you can guide. All that he explains. Let's conclude the class now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.